amino acids and more of like how like is the only way to get it through protein?
It's a great question. So, protein that we eat, and I'll try to keep this as simple as possible. If I get too nerdy on it, you just bring me back to like
Of course.
making it more
Oh,
accessible.
we're total nerds over
Okay,
here.
cool.
So
Yeah,
go as
so
nerdy as you want.
there's 20 amino acids that go into like the proteins that we eat
Okay.
that then we utilize in our body to help rebuild our
20.
own proteins.
Mhm.
There's 20,
20.
and 9 of them are essential, and 11 of them are non-essential.
Okay.
And the way of describing the difference between those is twofold. So one aspect is essential means that your body cannot make them.
Okay.
So if you consume the 9 essential amino acids in protein, you actually then your body can synthesize the other 11. It has a little
That's
like amino
wild.
acid factory in it, basically, where it can make the other 11.
Guess what, guys?
We're not doctors.
No, we are not.
If you're going to be making any major medical decisions, please consult your doctor.
Yes, and that includes diets, exercise, medications, and surgery.
We love you guys.
And we want you to be in our OSLP family forever.
So be careful
And consult
your doctors. We love ProCare. You guys know this. And guess what? They have a brand new product out and it tastes like an orange Tic Tac.
That's right. I have got it in my hot little hands right now. It's their easy to swallow tablet in Citrus Grove. And both of us have fully switched over to it.
We had to because it's easy to swallow, doesn't stick, and it has 45 milligrams of iron. And we both need that.
Yes, we do. So go to procarenow.com to take care of all your bariatric body needs. And our code is the only one that gets you a full 15% off. So use code OSLP at checkout.
Are you located in the Florida area?
Well, we have the perfect office for you. Dr. Fridley and his wife, Macy, have created the perfect, welcoming, and safe place for your bariatric journey.
That's right. So click on the link below to start your weight loss journey now. And don't forget to tell them that the OSLP's girls sent you.
Welcome back, OSLP family!
Welcome back, OSLP family. Welcome.
You are listening to our Sleep Life podcast, and this is Kelly.
This is Mel.
We are so excited to tell you guys that there have been some changes on our website.
Yes.
I know we've been talking about this incessantly, and it's finally happened.
I know. We got pictures done.
We got brand new photos. So now I no longer have red hair on our website.
I know.
I can't even tell you how excited I am about that.
I love it.
Yes.
Now you can just be you on our
Just
website.
be me.
I
That
love
is
that.
right.
So yes, go to our website. It's oursleeplifepodcast.com and you can get merch there. You can get journal prompts. You can get our pillow tracker that is not free, but it is not that cheap. It is not that expensive.
It's not that expensive, and
No.
there are no dates in it. So
No.
you can use it whenever you want to. So you can start it at any time because you add your own dates.
Yes.
So
And what I love too is like we're not tracking like the scale, guys.
Yeah.
It's the 5 main pillars. So that's
Mhm.
going to be movement, water, protein, sleep, and vitamins. Yes.
Of course.
And vitamins. Because those are like the 5 essentials that you need to hit so you can feel good every day.
In a bariatric journey.
Yes.
Correct. Also, when you first go onto the website, there will be a pop-up. And you are going to want to put your email in there and get our newsletters. You only get 1 to 2 a week. It's very minimal. But that's how you're going to learn all the new things that we have going on over here.
Yeah.
Events, new episodes, new sponsors that we absolutely love.
Yep.
All of that is happening through our newsletter. So go sign up, and you do get a free ebook when you sign up. And it's fantastic.
And it's brand new.
Well, that one's not up yet.
Oh, it might be by now.
It might be.
You never know.
You never know. We are redesigning our ebook, updating it a little bit. So be on a lookout for that. Speaking of ebooks, there is another free ebook all about bariatric travel. So go check that out. It's absolutely free. And you're going to love it if you're a traveler. And most of the time after bariatric surgery, we become travelers. So
Yes, because we're tired of just living at home.
exactly.
Yeah, feeling
exactly.
trapped. And that's in all of our link trees.
Correct.
So it's on the website and in our link trees for you
Mhm.
guys to get those tips, because Kelly goes over like how to like pack a bag,
For a
and
day
then
adventure.
and then I do like how you pregame with your protein and water and all those things and
Mhm.
vitamins
Yep.
before you even leave the house.
Yes. And don't forget, at the top of the page, there is a button or a banner, I should say, that says become a patron.
Mhm.
You also want to become a patron. And you want to become a patron because we have our own support group.
Yes,
It is called the Winner's Circle, or we call them
our benchies.
our benchies. And they are fantastic. We have over 200 people in that group. They all conversate. It's all positive. It's a fabulous place to be anytime during your journey.
Well, and they help each other out, like, because
Mhm.
the age range is like 24 to 60. We
Mhm.
have all men and women, people from the LGBTQ plus like community. So it's
Mhm.
really nice that like if we don't know the answer, someone in there kind of does, and if they
Yes.
don't, we will find someone,
Yes.
because we've done that. We
We
have
have.
messaged to surgeons before, and we will
Can you help us?
we will do it again.
Yes. So definitely check that out. You want to be either the $7 or the $10 tier. The $10 tier gives you videos like this one,
Mhm.
or you also get bonus episodes
Yes,
from us.
that's right.
You have all sorts of behind the scenes information. All of that is happening.
Yes,
So
all the discounts,
the
pre-sales,
free way to support us, because there is always a free way.
always free.
You would we would love to see you follow us on all social media. We are everywhere. So go put our name in Our Sleeve Life Podcast, and we will pop up no matter what platform you are on. And then the preloaded app, guys, it's preloaded. It's YouTube.
YouTube.
Click on it, put in Our Sleeve Life Podcast, hit the subscribe button and the little bell so you're notified when future videos like this drop every single Tuesday.
They do.
Now, this episode I'm super excited about. And if you're watching this, you would know we have a guest. And that guest is Angelo. And we're so excited to have you on. Welcome onto the show, Angelo.
Thanks for having me, Mel and Kelly.
Yeah,
Thank
of
you.
course. We are so excited to hear what you have to say.
Well, I'm super passionate about protein and amino acids and how they can impact health, and I'm just honored to get to share it with any community. And I feel like this is exciting for me.
Oh,
That's
great.
perfect.
I know, we know a lot about protein, obviously.
We do. But you said amino acids,
Yeah.
and we know like the concept,
Yeah,
right?
a
We
little bit.
kind of understand it. And guys, like he is from Kion. He is a protein and amino acid
Mhm.
expert. So he's gonna tell us like his background, how did this even start, and
Mhm.
all the good things.
Yeah. So tell us who you are, what you do, and how did you get to being an expert about protein and amino acids?
So I guess I was really lucky actually to get raised in a family that was really interested in nutrition and health. My parents had a natural health food store
Oh, wow.
Wow.
when I was a kid. My dad had actually been in the supplement business. He had like imported botanicals, things like uh, echinacea and chamomile and things like that.
Ah.
So I was raised like in a pretty hippie natural health family.
I love it.
And my family just happened to be well, they chose to be pescatarian, meaning they ate like vegetarian plus fish
Yep.
diet.
Okay.
But knowing how important protein was, we talked about protein a lot as a family. Because if you choose to not eat animal proteins, you have to think a lot more about how you combine different types of plant proteins to make sure it's complete, which we can
Yes.
get a lot more into talking about, in the show.
Yeah.
And so as a young kid, like I knew I needed to mix lentils and rice. I knew that like why tofu was important or fish was important. And on top of that, my parents exposed me to these things called amino acid supplements.
Okay.
So I would actually be given amino acid supplements as a kid.
Oh.
Um, so like super young, I
Yeah.
was just lucky to get exposed to this. But I think like most people, I didn't actually know what any of it meant. Right? I was just a
Right.
kid, like
Mhm.
just being kind of like inundated by my parents in their frame and their what they thought was important and valuable. And as I got older, like I experimented outside the frame of what they believed in. I got into eating fast food. I got
Okay.
into, partying. I got into all types of behaviors that were pretty distant from like what they valued.
Yeah.
Um,
I think we
and
all
actually,
do that, right?
Mhm.
When we
Yeah.
yeah,
when we get 18, we move out. We're
Yeah.
like, we're gonna try this. What I want to do. Let's
Yeah.
see
Well,
how it
and I
works.
know from personal experience, my mom didn't buy fast food.
Nope.
Like at all. The only times we went to fast food was when she needed to study because she went back to school. And she would get the bucket of fries from McDonald's, dump it on a tray, and we would just play in the play place while she studied. That was the only time. So when I left the house, I was like, yeah, I can buy fast food whenever I want.
Mm-hmm.
Heck yes. So yeah, I totally feel you on that.
yeah. And so I think like all of us, you have to kind of in your life come to your own through your own journey, figure out like what actually works for you and
Mhm.
what's, what are the best decisions for your health. I unfortunately got into a lot of trouble in high school.
Mm.
Um, and I ended up provoking the situation where I got stabbed
Oh.
and beaten up really badly when I was 16.
Oh my gosh.
And so like through that experience, I had like a very significant physical recovery period. Like I was
Mm.
hospitalized, um, and I lost a lot of muscle,
Yep.
and my patellar tendon was severed, and so like I had to figure out kind of like how to rebuild my body and my life,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
and yeah, it was a very intense introduction to adulthood at 16.
I'm sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really
At
intense.
16 years
How
old.
long were you in the hospital for?
For a week.
For a
I
week.
mean,
Wow.
I was basically, unconscious for a few days, and then I was in the hospital for a few more days, and then I went home, and I was bedridden though for 3 months.
Okay.
Oh.
So
So then you probably had to learn even more why protein's important and amino acids are important to
Mhm.
healing.
yeah, suddenly I was like, whoa, like I really, again, it wasn't something just my parents told me about. Like I started taking this real personal interest in it and
Mhm.
trying to understand it. And I'd say that just kind of kickstarted a journey for me that lasted. Now I'm 40 over the last 24 years
Mm.
around trying to be more sincere and thoughtful about my health and
Mhm.
what I'm putting in my body and why. But it's had all kinds of ups and downs.
Yeah.
It was not a straight path. And there's even with weight, it's been up and down. Like it's been a yeah, just like not a straight or linear path,
Yeah.
but something I've always been kind of interested in. And about 7 years ago now, after a lot of different ups and downs and different
Mm.
experiences, and trying different, uh, experimenting with different types of careers and businesses, I found myself back really in this passion that I think was instilled in me as a child
Yeah.
and as an adult around protein and amino acid nutrition. And so created this company in 2017, and our focus is around this. It's around educating people about protein, amino acid nutrition, and products that support that. And so it's something that's really, again, it's all the way back to my childhood,
Yeah.
my own personal journey in it. And it's been an awesome opportunity for me because, yeah, it's always been something I've been passionate about.
Mhm.
And there's tons of research and science.
Mm.
And it's oftentimes hard to bridge those communities, the communities of like the people doing all this really cool research,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and then and the scientists,
Yep.
Mhm.
and the rest of us that just know we're supposed to eat more protein, but like why or how much, and
Mhm.
how does it matter, and what does it do in our bodies, and
Mm-hmm.
what are amino acids and how do they fit in. So I really like getting to be that bridge, that helps bridge the scientific community to the rest of us.
Well, thank you for
Yeah.
doing that because we need more people willing to talk about it
Mhm.
and that can talk about it.
Mhm.
Because yes, we know we get all the data from the scientists, but not all of them are great at being on a podcast and being
Yep.
able to explain all the things.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's fine. They're amazing scientists for a reason.
Yeah.
So let's break it down. So explain to us like why is protein important? What are amino acids? How
Mhm.
does this work in our body?
Mhm.
So I think a really good place to start is just with protein. And as you guys are big endorsers of protein, and I
Yeah.
think this community overall understands how important it is for not only maintaining lean muscle but your overall health. I
Mhm.
think let's just discuss like why,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of us know that it is, but we don't actually understand why.
Yeah.
And a really important thing to focus in on is how and why it's so different from carbohydrates and fat.
Yes.
So
Yes.
in our diet, there are these three macronutrients: carbohydrates, fat, and protein. Well, carbs and fat, the reason why we eat them
Mhm.
is for fuel.
Okay.
So if you
Carbs
think
and
about
fat.
the analogy of like a car or a house, it'd be like putting gasoline in your car, and your car then burns that gasoline and it
Mm.
can move.
Okay.
Or if you get energy from the electricity grid for your house, or you have solar panels or whatever, you have that energy and it helps run your dishwasher and your
Mm.
your washing machine and turn on the lights, etc. And carbs and fat do that same thing. That's their primary role is your body actually takes them in and then burns them. And it allows you to help beat your heart and function your brain and move through space, etc. And as I think many of us know, if we eat too much of that, we eat more than we need, then
Mhm.
we'll start to store it, right?
Mhm.
Right.
So protein is really fundamentally different. It can be used as a fuel source, but that's not what it's used for. The reason why we eat protein is to actually rebuild our bodies. So it's more
Ah.
like if you were in a fender bender in your with your car
Mhm.
and you got a dent or the fender got injured really badly and you actually need to replace the fender. You
Mhm.
actually need new materials. You can't just like it's not an energy issue. It's like you need new materials to fix that fender.
Okay.
Or if you're trying to remodel your bathroom, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, it's really old, it's out of date. I gotta like, we need to put in a new toilet and a new bathtub, etc. Well, it's not an issue of just energy. It's an issue of like actual materials. Our bodies have that same situation. And while basically, I think many people are familiar, half of us is water. Like
Mhm.
your
Mhm.
body, all of our bodies, about half of us is water. Well, the half that's not, over half of that is made up of proteins.
Wow.
Okay.
So your vital organs, your skin, your hair, your nails, your eyes, um, all of your lean muscle throughout your body, but even things that maybe you don't think about, like enzymes and hormones, are proteins.
Yeah.
Oh.
And even things like your neurotransmitters, so the chemicals in our brain through which we like all of our emotions are conducted,
Mhm.
they're the metabolites of protein, so they come from proteins too. So
Wow.
all of
Okay.
these physical things that are happening in our body are actually proteins.
Huh.
And similar to the way that other physical things in our life work, they get old, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it could be that like, you walk enough in through your house and the carpet gets old or the
Mhm.
tile gets old
Yep.
and it's no longer as functional as it used to be and you need to replace that tile or you need to replace that carpet.
Yeah.
Well, similarly in our body, like in our skin, for example, there's millions of proteins. Well, each one of those little individual proteins at a certain point, it no longer functions as well as it used to.
Okay.
And so actually that protein, when it gets old, it breaks down
That makes
inside of our
sense.
body. When that protein breaks down, some of it can be reused.
Okay.
And so when it breaks down into these amino acids. Those are the first time I'll kind of introduce the idea of amino acids.
Okay.
Those are the little building blocks that make up all the proteins.
Okay.
Okay.
And when the protein gets old, it breaks apart. You get all the little amino acids, and some of them are still good. Like they can still be used. So again, maybe you go back to remodeling your house, that
Mhm.
analogy,
Yeah.
and you remodel part of the bathroom, and it's like the tile old, we got to throw it away. But like the fixtures are still good. We can reuse the fixtures.
Okay.
Similarly, some of these amino acids are no good, and you actually just pee them out.
Yep.
Oh.
Okay.
But some of the amino acids are still good and you can reuse them to rebuild that skin, to rebuild that muscle, to build new enzymes.
Mm.
But now the thing that you notice is, well, I don't have enough though. I just peed out some of the old ones, right? So
Yeah.
where do I get the new ones from? That's why we eat protein. When you eat protein, whether it's from chicken or dairy or quinoa or beans and rice or anything, you actually digest that protein, it breaks apart into little amino acids in your digestive system. It
Mhm.
goes into your blood and then it gets distributed throughout your body to help build new proteins in your body.
I
That's why we
love
eat
it.
protein.
That's awesome.
That is such a great way of explaining it
Mhm.
because we have been on this podcast for 4 years and we have discussed protein in a million different ways and that is brand new and it makes so much sense in my head
Yep.
of like, oh, that's why I need to eat protein. Because you're
Mhm.
always like, you need to eat protein because that's what your surgeon told you. And that's what every surgeon tells us. But why? That's the biggest question. Like, and that makes just so much sense to me of why we need
Well,
it.
and the fact of how much protein is actually in our bodies, I think that's
Mhm.
skipped
Mhm.
a lot. Like we
Yeah.
know the water, right? They talk
Yeah.
about you got to replenish, you got to replenish.
Mhm.
And it's like, why aren't we saying that with protein? We do need to replenish protein.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point.
Yeah, and I think that this so one extra point that I think is especially relevant to this community is that when you go through some form of caloric restriction
Mhm.
Mhm.
and you're consuming less calories and you're eating less
Mhm.
and you start to lose weight, what happens is naturally you're going to actually burn some of the fat stores. Like the fat that you're storing as an energy source starts getting burned instead because you're eating less than you need to just survive. You start burning more of the fat stores.
Okay.
But what also happens is if you don't eat enough protein in your diet to replace all these needs for protein, like to replace the skin tissue and the heart tissue and to rebuild enzymes, etc., there's only one place where your body will get those amino acids that it needs. And that place is your muscle.
Muscles.
Yeah.
So if you don't eat enough protein during a weight loss journey, and especially like a more aggressive one, right? What happens is you'll start breaking down muscle tissue to supply the rest of your body with these amino acids. And if there's one thing that's going to really help, like the most important thing to try to maintain in a weight loss journey, it is trying to maintain your lean muscle.
Yes.
Because it's what allows you to stay strong, to stay active, to continue going on walks, to try to do strength training. It's what helps regulate your blood sugar. It also helps you maintain a higher overall metabolism. So it's like you want to be thinking about how do I maintain this lean muscle and not just be burning it alongside the fat.
Because you would basically be just like wasting away if
Yeah.
you're not replacing that. And then
Yeah,
you
I mean,
lose
you
your
will.
lean
Yeah,
muscle.
you'll be losing. Yeah, I mean, I think this is the thing. It's like, if you have, if you're trying to lose 100 pounds and you want it to be primarily fat, if you lose muscle in the journey, I mean, it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's fine.
it's awesome. It's awesome that you lost 100 pounds. Like, that's a
Yeah.
great thing. So in no way is the context like that there's necessarily a good or a bad. It's just if you can maintain the lean muscle,
Okay.
it is going to be so much better and healthier for you. That's why surgeons are naturally suggesting it, right? They're saying like, make sure you're hitting those higher protein intakes because they know that it's helping what's maintain all these protein functions in the body and will help you maintain more lean muscle. And so it's really that priority. So if you can do that, it's that much better.
Well, and they tell us, guys, when if you're listening, you better be listening to this. I know, but you really need to listen to this part. Our surgeons tell us you have to do some sort of strength training because they actually measure every time. At least when I went in, Dr. Patterson would tell me how much I lost and tell me whether like how much I was fat versus lean muscle. She was very concerned about it. She said, like, you guys, she's like, you have to walk. You need to do little weights. She's like, I don't care if you're just using like a veggie can or milk jugs. She's like, but you need to keep your muscle. She's like, if you want to be healthy. And at the time I was like 28. So she's like, if you want to be in your 50s and 60s and be able to stand up straight and not be shuffling your legs, then hey, you need protein.
Yeah.
And you need to do some strength training with it. And I took that to heart. I was like, okay, you scared me enough. I will eat all the protein I can.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And my office was not as concerned. I did not hear about strength training until Mel told me.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. Cause I mean, they talked about like working out, but it was never like, you need to do strength training because you're going to be losing muscle.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't, or maybe I just
Blocked it
didn't
out.
listen, but I mean, cause you've got so many other things going on in your bariatric journey. But I know that it can get confusing.
It can.
So I like that we're breaking it down in such a like, you all might be asking yourselves, why do these girls love Just Meat so much? Well, we're going to tell you.
Yeah, because so much freaking flavor, guys.
Yes,
Like,
oh
it
my
is
God.
insane. And I love to cook. And this has cut down my cooking time like in half. Literally the meat part, 2 to 3 minutes.
Who doesn't want that for cooking? And I love, love, love the fact as a single person, I can cook 1 pack and eat that for the rest of the day, the rest of the week.
Yeah.
The rest of the
insane.
week, people. And I love that it comes straight to your door. I don't have to go to the grocery store. I don't know about you, but I don't like going to the grocery store.
No.
So having this delivered is ultimate.
It is ultimate. And you just go to justmeats.co, pick out all your different flavors. You can really mix and match what you want, and then use OSLP 25 for you to get $25 off your order.
Go now. Are you feeling a little sluggish? Little lack of protein? Little lack of caffeine? Well, we got the fix for that.
That's right. Dive Bar Nutrition has the best protein bars. They have caffeine, protein, and they taste delicious.
So head on over to divebarnutrition.com and use code OSLP at checkout.
Well, and we all got
steps.
this surgery for longevity.
Mhm.
Like whether that's for ourselves, our kids, our families, whatever, but it's always about longevity. And I
Yep.
think the only way, at least from talking to you and other experts, it's like you really need that protein.
Yep.
Like you just can't live without it.
Yep. And no weight loss is worth you doing it unhealthy.
Mhm.
Like the reason why you do it with bariatric surgery, the reason I did it, because I was done doing the yo-yo dieting. I was done punishing my body to get a weight loss.
Mhm.
And so it's important that you do it in the correct way.
Yep.
I did not do it in the correct way, guys. I didn't in the beginning. And what happened? I regained and my body was not happy with me.
No.
So going through it again, you learn what mistakes you made before and you learn from them. So learn from our mistakes
Yes.
and listen to Angelo. So, okay, so can we go into like amino acids and more of like how like is the only way to get it through protein?
It's a great question. So, protein that we eat, and I'll try to keep this as simple as possible. If I get too nerdy on it, you just bring me back to
Okay.
like
Oh,
making it more
we're
accessible.
we're total nerds over here.
Okay,
So go
cool.
as
Yeah,
nerdy
so
as you want.
there's 20 amino acids that go into like the proteins that we eat
Okay.
that then we utilize in our body to help rebuild
20.
our own
Mhm.
proteins. There's
Okay.
20,
20.
and 9 of them are essential, and 11 of them are non-essential.
Okay.
And the way of describing the difference between those is twofold. So one aspect is essential means that your body cannot make them.
Okay.
Mm.
So if you consume the 9 essential amino acids in protein, you actually then can your body can synthesize the other 11. It
Oh,
has a
that's
little like
wild.
amino acid factory in it basically where it can make the other 11.
Amino
That doesn't
acid
mean that you
factory.
need to like you would only eat the 9 and there's no like whole food sources that only have the 9.
Mhm.
They are mixes of them,
Yeah.
but you don't need the other 11. And
Okay.
so that's really the key point that when you're evaluating eating whole food protein or even thinking about protein, you're really just trying to get proteins that are rich in the essential amino acids because those are the ones that you most need
Okay.
Mhm.
and that provide the maximum amount of the benefit for your body
Okay.
to actually to build new proteins.
Okay.
The second thing though is that not only are the essential amino acids the ones that your body can't make,
Mhm.
they're also this is kind of an interesting component. Before I was just describing that like, hey, you need to like replace the carpet or replace the tile in your
Mhm.
house, right? So it's just kind of like the materials.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's what the amino acids are. The amino acids are like these materials that help rebuild your carpet in your
Yeah.
Mhm.
body or your tiles, your protein. But it's actually a bit more nuanced. The essential amino acids are also the active component of the protein. So think about them as like the
Mm.
contractor that you
Oh.
hire to get the carpet
To
replaced.
make sure it gets done. Yeah.
They actually,
Huh.
when you consume protein and you break apart the protein, you get the amino acids. The essential amino acids tell the body to build new proteins
Okay.
in a
Oh.
similar way to resistance exercise. The reason why weightlifting is so good and so valuable, particularly in a weight loss journey,
Mm.
is because when you lift weights, it tells the body, hey, I want to break down the old, not as good proteins and build new ones.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so it's communicating to the body this kind of this message. The essential amino acids actually do the same thing.
Hmm.
So in a whole food protein, it's to a lesser degree than like say resistance exercise, but it also does that.
Wow.
So the essential amino acids, you can see they're really important. They're not just the part you can't synthesize, but when you consume them, they tell your body to build new proteins.
Okay.
But here's a really, I think, good transition point then to talk about, how you kind of evaluate the different types of proteins and how
Mhm.
you eat them. And I think especially in context like this one, that's what's much more specific, right?
Okay.
So if I eat lean, if I eat beef protein on its own, like
Okay.
I just have like literally just a piece of steak,
Yep.
and there's 30 grams of protein in it,
Okay.
the amount of new protein synthesis, it's the amount that it tells my body to build new proteins is equal to eating over twice that amount of steak, so 70 grams of
Wow.
beef protein,
Okay.
if I eat it as part of a mixed meal. So if I eat
Okay.
the beef on its own versus if I eat the beef in a mix with broccoli and potatoes and these other things,
Mhm.
I get less than half the amount of muscle protein synthesis from eating it with other things.
Oh, but you get
So it's
more
like
when you eat it by itself.
you get more when you eat it by itself. And it's like, well,
Huh.
why is that?
Yeah.
Well, what happens is and then we'll start to break down the benefits then of protein powders and EAA supplements. You'll see how all this stuff kind of fits together.
Okay.
It's because the basically the peak concentration, when you have like the most amount of essential amino acids hitting your blood at once,
Uh-huh.
you will stimulate the most amount of new protein synthesis.
Ah.
So if I eat the steak all by itself and there's nothing else in my stomach and nothing else in my digestive system, basically the essential amino acids, which make up about half of a piece of steak,
Okay.
about half of it is non-essential and half of it is essential.
Okay.
They basically get digested and they enter my blood much faster than if I had eaten it as part of a meal.
Okay.
Huh.
That makes sense though, because like it's sharing room and
Exactly.
processing it together instead of it just doing it by itself. And then it's
Exactly.
energizing it like, hey, we're here.
So
Yeah.
Hi.
question is though,
Uh-huh.
so if you have a plate and you have a steak and you have some potatoes and you have some broccoli.
hmm
So if you eat that steak first and that's done, and then you have your broccoli and then you have your potatoes, will you still get the same?
Less than like if you literally just ate the steak on its own and you waited like an hour or two to have the broccoli and potatoes. Like
Okay.
if it's like 5 minutes later, it's like it's still. I mean, yeah, you would there would be an improvement
Okay.
from eating it all bite after bite, but
Uh-huh.
less than if you like actually separated it. What I would just say though is like in general, I try to eat and I encourage people to eat well balanced meals, like
Yeah.
to eat vegetables and eat fruits and eat micronutrient rich foods and eat good high quality proteins and build a healthy relationship with eating whole quality good foods and like if you can eat meals with people you love and like try to build these healthy habits, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is less to endorse like you need to you need to make sure you're only eating your beef on its own, right? It's more just to introduce this concept of like how it's different,
Yeah.
right, from eating as part of a mixed meal. But here's what I'd say: if you are then trying to think about, oh, I need to fit more protein in, right?
Mm-hmm.
It does make more sense. Like rather if I'm trying to fit more protein in and it's just like a little snack period, right?
Mhm.
Or like if I could only eat protein during that snack period and not be mixing it with other things, it will have a greater improvement on telling my body to build more protein, to build more proteins,
Mm.
to build more muscle and to rebuild other proteins than if I was mixing it with other things. Like if I'm just choosing, if I was going to have a snack and I just had like a little piece of beef, right,
Mhm.
versus trying to have a whole meal. That said, when you compare meat, like this beef, to a whey protein isolate protein powder,
Mhm.
the protein powder is 3 times as effective as the beef.
Whoa.
So even though they can have the exact same amount of protein on paper,
Mhm.
right? The protein powder is way more effective, 3 times as effective as this isolated beef that you're eating on its own. And that's because if you have something like a whey protein isolate protein powder, there's no carbohydrates in it. They've all been stripped out. All the fats have been stripped out.
Mm.
It's this very just isolated, just the protein,
Mhm.
and it's much more digestible by the body. Like it's that much more quickly enters the
Oh, and
bloodstream.
that's why they call it isolate. Now I get it.
It's
That
isolated. Yeah.
that makes so much
Right?
sense.
Like it's
Yeah.
literally a whey protein and it's isolated by itself, been
Yeah.
stripped of
Yes.
all the things.
All
Huh.
the other things.
You
It's
know,
just the
that
protein.
makes more sense
Okay,
now.
because I
Yeah.
have to say, like, when you go into like the health food store or like the supplement store and you're looking at all the proteins and you're seeing all of these letters together and these things, and I just literally walk around, I'm like, I have no idea what any of this is. And so to finally know, like, at least what isolate means
Yeah.
is really nice. And I'm sure you're going to go through all of those letters that we see together in like, because I'm like, I don't know it's just all these letters and they're all capitalized. And I don't know. What do I need?
I don't know that I
You
can go
crack
through
me up.
every single one, but for shorthand, I would just say if you're going to choose a protein powder, a whey protein isolate is great.
Okay.
It's really high in the essential amino acids, tends to be very digestible,
Mhm.
and it's stripped out of lactose.
Mm.
So
Let's
it's like
say,
most people who are even like lactose intolerant are fine consuming it. I'm relatively lactose intolerant and I can take whey protein isolate again because it's just the protein.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
softer on your tummy.
It's
Okay.
soft
Yeah.
on your tummy.
Is
But
that
here
how
now,
is that how they do like Fairlife? Because Fairlife is lactose free.
I mean,
no,
it
the
could be,
Fairlife type
but
stuff I think is actually they add a specific enzyme
Oh, okay.
that
All right.
actually helps like break down that helps
Okay.
break down the lactose.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so now if you get to this idea of there's actually things where you can consume just the essential amino acids.
Okay.
So rather than having a whey protein isolate, which again is just the isolated protein, there's nothing else in it.
Okay.
In that protein, about half of it is essential amino acids
Uh-huh.
and half of it is the non-essential.
Okay.
But as we said earlier, the essential ones are really, they do all the work.
yeah,
Mhm.
the heavy
They're the
lifting.
ones that are doing all the work. They're the ones your body can't make. They're the most important ones.
Yeah.
So then there's this option to take an essential amino acid supplement, and it's only the essential amino acids.
Oh.
And when you compare taking that to the whey protein isolate, it's 3 times as effective as the whey protein isolate.
Oh shoot.
So
And
that's
this
like crazy.
So
crazy efficient and effective. It's you can consume so much less of something. It doesn't make you feel full. And again, if you're in a situation in which you're trying to hit higher amounts of
Mhm.
equivalents of protein,
Mhm.
um, but you're like in this post-op type situation where
Mhm.
it's like trying to get that as hard and you're having to
Mhm.
choose so much. Like you can consume something that's very light that doesn't fill up your stomach,
Mhm.
but that gives you these core nutrients to help maintain your lean muscle, etc. And it's so many more times potent than say a whole like trying to eat one more piece of like chicken or trying
That's
to
insane.
I wish I would have known about
yeah
this 9 years ago.
Or even 5 years ago. Or
yeah
even last week.
I know. I was gonna say we're
so
gonna
Yeah.
start
and
looking at your label.
I
and,
know.
and what's interesting too is what I just quoted to you, that is for a healthy young
Yeah.
adult population, so that's people in their like say
It's for
20s.
everybody,
The
right?
older that we get, the greater the impact. So by the time you're 60, the essential amino acids are 6 times effective as the whey protein.
Whoa.
And that's because our ability to digest proteins
Mhm.
and how sensitive our bodies are to build and maintain lean muscle, it just gets harder to
Yeah.
build and maintain lean muscle as we age.
Yeah.
Like significant every decade it gets harder. There's studies showing that it's 6 times as effective as a protein powder by the time we're 60. So if whatever your age is, like whatever decade, whether you're like if
Mhm.
you're 30, it's about 3 times, 40, 4 times,
Mhm.
5, 50, 5 times, 60, 6 times,
Okay.
etc.
Okay.
Um, so it's like it's highly efficient and effective
Okay.
compared to again, not to like replace meals, but
No.
when you're trying to really hit these higher daily intakes of protein,
Mhm.
because you're not really trying to get higher daily intakes of protein. You're trying to get more essential amino acids.
Mhm.
That's the thing that you're trying to
Okay.
get from the protein.
Okay.
So if you only drink, not like only drink, but say like I'm just gonna talk about Kion for like a hot
Mhm.
second. I know that we haven't touched on it yet, but I know that we will. But
Yeah, I'm very
I already looked
curious.
at the label. It has the 9 essential acids, amino acids. And my question is, so like one scoop, how much protein is that?
So
Does it count towards
technically, the
that?
amino acids are not protein, right? Because they're only the essential amino acids.
Mhm.
So instead, what I would say is, what is it the equivalent to, right?
Okay, yeah.
Right? What is the equivalent to? So based off what we just said, if you're if you're um if you're 30 years old, it's the equivalent to about 15 grams of like a whey protein isolate.
Okay.
So there's one scoop is 5 grams of essential amino acids,
Okay.
right?
6.58.
So that includes flavoring and
Ah,
other like things
okay.
that help
So
Ah.
make it into
5
a powder.
grams of
Yeah.
everything else.
If you
Got it.
Okay.
took only the capsules though, it would be a pure like just 5 grams.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 5 grams of active essential amino acids. So that is equal to, it's going to stimulate as much protein synthesis as about 15 grams of whey protein compared to like just eating a piece though of like steak,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
right? It's going to be, you know, it's difficult because there haven't been like those exact clear studies. We've compared protein powders to steak and steak to protein powders and protein powders to
Mhm.
essential amino acids, but it's somewhere like, 9 times the impact.
That's
Okay.
amazing.
9, 10 times the impact.
Yeah.
So it depends on what you're comparing it to. That said, if we compare it to a plant protein like rice and beans,
Mhm.
it's way more
Oh,
because
yeah.
rice and beans are even harder to digest. They're not as they have many fewer essential amino acids, etc. So there's not like a clear, perfect comparison.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know, it depends on, and I know that's like can be frustrating to like a general audience. So it's like, I'm just supposed to eat more protein. We just tell me what it equals.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I would say is, it's like based off your age
Mhm.
and what protein you're comparing it to, somewhere between 3 to 10 times the impact.
There we
Okay.
go.
So if
That's
Yeah.
a hell of
we're
an impact still.
so if we're adding
Yeah.
this in, so we're adding in the aminos, um, how many scoops should we have in a day?
So I think this is what I would say too is if you're in the context of being a pre or post op and you're working with a doctor, I think
Mhm.
consulting with them is definitely ideal.
Mhm.
Okay.
That said, even in clinical situations, it's been safe to take up to 20 servings a day.
Holy shit.
20?
So yeah, but let me give you the example of the 20 servings a day.
Okay.
So like they did studies for NASA where basically astronauts go to space, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And they have no resistance training. So there's very little stimulus on their muscles. So their muscles would waste away.
Oh,
So they tried to
yes.
figure out like how can we help them maintain their lean muscle
While they're in
While they're in
when
space.
they're in
space.
space.
Okay.
So they conducted research. This research is like 20 years old now, but they've had multiple follow-up studies where they kept people at complete bed rest. So they had imagine signing up for that study where you have to lie
Oh,
in
I
bed for
I
28 days.
I'd love it, but then I'd hate it.
You
Yeah.
like it for the first week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
mean, you
then
have to go to
after
the
that.
bathroom in bed. Like you don't like
Oh,
you don't like
yeah,
getting
no.
up. Like no physical movement.
Nope.
Right.
Nope.
Whoa.
I'm out.
Yeah. So but anyways, in this setting, they had 3 meals a day, but then they took basically the equivalent of 18 servings per day. They took 3 servings 6 times per day. And after 28 days, they had no muscle loss.
Nice. Okay.
I mean, as I'm just saying, that's
That's
insane, y'all. Like
impressive.
if you asked anyone who had to lie in a hospital bed for a week, they're losing muscle.
Yep.
Mhm.
Like,
Yep.
it's like it's very difficult not to lose muscle. And so there's been multiple studies like that where they've been at much higher doses for longer
Mhm.
periods of time, and it's been deemed safe again for up to 20 servings per day. But
Wow.
so I give that as a context because if you're in a situation where you're like really aggressively trying to lose weight and you're in a post-op situation, but
Mhm.
you're really trying to hit these higher daily essential amino acid requirements and
Mhm.
you want to maintain as much lean muscle as you want, you're in a more unique clinical situation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like you're not you're in a more unique clinical situation. So I think you could consider amounts that much. That doesn't mean you need to, but I
Right.
just want to pose that as a general situation and say like that'd be a situation to talk to your doctor potentially about like, hey, can I take this much, etc.
Okay.
Generally though, I would say, I mean, like any time that you can sneak it in
Mhm.
and
Do it.
fit it in
Mhm.
is good. So it's like
Mm.
if you can do it first thing in the morning, that's great.
Okay.
If you could take it during, if you take it with a meal, it'll actually improve the amount of protein synthesis that you get from that meal itself. It's
Okay.
better utilization of the protein. If you take it before you work out or go for a walk or anything, it's going to help you have higher energy, but it's also going to generate even more new protein synthesis in combination with the exercise.
Okay.
You can take it before you go to bed. So think about it as something, and if you get like one of the flavored drink formats, like wow, it's like this kind of it's a fruity flavored treat,
Right.
that's got the sweetness to it that is like really good for me,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
right? Like it's going to support me in maintaining my lean muscle as I lose this weight, as I more prioritize losing fat. So I think once a day is a great thing to start with.
Mhm.
That said, like you can really use it, I think, any way throughout the day and as
Mhm.
many times as you want. Again, no more than 20 times a day.
Yeah.
That would support. Yeah, I mean, I think you and your journey.
Yeah.
I
Just
think we need this for our Disney trip.
yeah, we'll just bring it.
Yeah, because I have this whole thing when we go to Disney because I'm a freak and I love Disney. But every time I get off a ride, I buy a bottle of water and then I do like liquid IV in it.
Hmm.
And what I'm wondering is if I can like
Just do a
just do that and then it would give me more energy. It would like
replenish.
help replenish what I'm losing throughout the day because we're busy.
Well, and you're
Yeah.
like in Disney, last time we were there, we did over like 15,000 steps.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
right. And so we're like, okay,
Yeah.
if we would have had the amino acids, then it would have
Mhm.
helped even more with the recovery, I would imagine, with our
Yeah.
It would have helped with the
protein.
recovery even more. And literally, it would have combined with the impact of the exercise
Mhm.
Yeah.
to improve your overall muscle
Oh, so
composition.
that's what we're going to have to do, Cal.
Okay.
So I have questions
Keon's
then.
going to Disney with us, guys.
Yeah. So I have 2 questions. One, you're gonna have to tell us how you created Kion and how did that come out of your brain? And then
Yes.
2, do you have an unflavored?
So, I mean, really, I think the story of Keon is it's like it's what I shared earlier. It's like it's something that came out of my childhood
Mhm.
and wanting to be in this space. It's like it's not something I thought about when I was younger,
Mhm.
but
Right.
it's like I think once I got older and had a family and wanted to like ha- have a business that I was really passionate about what I was doing every
Mhm.
day,
Mhm.
I think as you can probably tell talking about this stuff, I love this content.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
I really love health and I love sharing it with people and wanting them to I just want everyone to, feel healthier and happier and better in their bodies.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of that simple. But it's yeah, it started with like one other person in my garage and it's a
Really?
very yeah, it's a very, I think it's
That's cool.
again a story filled with lots of ups and downs and trying
Yes.
lots of things and them not working and then some things worked and others didn't.
Mhm.
But yeah, and that's the short story. And then in terms of the flavor, we don't have it unflavored because amino acids are actually there would contain a lot of like bitter, sour, and umami flavor in foods.
Oh,
So if you
okay.
tried to
Oh.
only take the amino acids as a powder, it would taste like very just like overload of like those types of flavors.
Mhm.
Okay.
So actually, worked really hard to flavor them with natural flavors, um, to overcome that. That said, there are capsules.
Yes.
So
Nice.
we offer a capsule version, and that honestly, I love the capsule
I was
version
say I might
too
need you to
because
send capsules
yeah, because
links
I take a
later.
lot. I like them a lot, and I take them a lot, and I don't always want to be like drinking
Yeah, well,
12 ounces of water
mhm.
or
Yeah.
a fruit type thing. Like I tend to do the fruit drinks more like honestly around exercise.
Mm.
So see, and I
Or like that
know
example that Kelly gave.
Yeah.
yeah, I know a lot of people in our community, some of us don't like flavored anything. Like we
Hmm.
just like plain
Mhm.
water. We like, bitter I like bitter teas. Like
Mhm.
if it's going to be like sugary, not sugary, but sweet flavoring,
Mhm.
Yeah,
it's got to be my dessert. It can't be anything else.
yeah,
So, and it's also just hard enough to get your water and protein in for a day. I don't want to
Mhm.
add an extra drink in there. I
Mhm.
know I could like separate from another one, but it's like I don't like sweet. So I'm glad
yeah.
that you have a capsule version
Yeah.
because I
Give
would
that
just
option
put
to
that
people.
in my vitamins every morning. Like I have a set that I already
Yeah.
take. I can just add that in. Or do I
Mhm.
That's
have to
what I
keep it
do. I
separate?
take it. No, you can
Okay.
take it. That's what's great about amino acids is really like they're really good anytime.
Okay.
They don't, you don't have to worry about taking them with like your multivitamin or other vitamins you're taking.
Okay.
You can take them with food or without food. They have benefits. You take them, yeah. So it's that I take them first thing in the morning in a similar way. I take the
Okay.
capsules,
Okay.
but I mean,
Awesome.
lots of other people that I know and um, you know, partners and athletes, people we work with, like everyone has their different preferences.
Yeah, I think that's what's really cool about the amino acids and your products is that it's not like a one size fits all.
Mhm.
Like we've been really focusing this year on like it's not a one size fits all like journey. It's not
Yeah.
a one size fits all, coaching program. And this kind of goes along that same way. Like if you work better with it drinking it in the middle of the day,
Then do it.
then do it. If
Yeah,
you work better if taking a capsule in the morning, then do it. Like there's no right or wrong way to do it.
As long as you do it. That's
Yeah.
that's the
I think
whole
that's the
point.
most important thing. I mean,
Yep.
that's how health works. It's more than anything, it's like actually doing it. It's the
Mhm.
adherence. Everyone's
Mhm.
trying to find the perfect recipe and act like they know,
Mhm.
like or all these people saying like this is the only right way or that way is wrong. It's like, it's just about doing what works for you.
Yep.
Yeah, for
Yep.
sure.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Because we see it all the time, like
Mhm.
people judging themselves or other people for doing it a different way. And it's like, hey, 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 we all are different.
We all have different journeys. We all have
Yes.
different personalities. Like I just between me and Mel, like she decompresses in the evening, so
Yep.
she's up late
Hmm.
and then she likes to sleep in. I'm up early. I
Mhm.
decompress in the morning with my cup of coffee and I go to bed early. I mean, I do have health stuff also thrown in there,
We
but
do.
like
We do.
we've been best friends for 25 years.
And we have such like opposite
Yeah.
schedules, opposite ways of how we do things,
Mhm.
different things we like to eat. Like, and
Mhm.
it's funny because when we do like today is Thursday for, I know that No one really knows that, but now you know that
Today's
we're recording this on a
Thursday.
Thursday. And we do lives on Thursdays, and we
Mhm.
try different foods and different protein products. And
Mhm.
it's funny because there's times where Kelly loves it, I hate it,
Yeah.
and vice versa. So it's
Mhm.
great to see it's different.
Yeah.
It's so different.
Yeah.
And then so it is his business is called Kion, guys.
Yes.
Kion. It's
Yep.
getkion.com. If you want a discount, just do a /OSLP. And we've tried these. Like this, the one I have in my hand is the watermelon one. And it's perfect because I'm called Watermelony.
Yes, she is.
And because I love watermelon so much.
Yes.
And so this is one of my favorites. It is the watermelon. And guys, put it in the 16 ounces it says.
And cold.
And cold.
And cold.
Cold. I cannot more emphasize the cold. Like I shake it with ice. and it's
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Because we were like, oh, we're just going to put it a little bit in a cup and try it. And then we're like, oh, hold on.
This needs to be cold.
This needs to one be cold and actually 16 ounces. So
yeah.
follow the instructions.
Yeah, follow the instructions. Kelly did not do that when I was setting it up, and Mel paid the price for that.
I did.
But we
Sure did.
actually mixed the flavors.
We
also.
did. Yeah, we made our own concoction.
Because I was like, I wonder how this would taste with this.
Mhm.
So we did the cool lime
Yes.
one with the watermelon.
And the mixed berry.
That sounds good.
We did it with the mixed berry too, because it kind of tasted
Oh yeah,
like
because we did the watermelon in this, and then we did the mixed berry in this.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool because we were like our own little I don't
It's
know.
like the Mel and Kelly tropical punch.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
And it was really good. And I was
Mhm.
like, I mean, because we try a lot of products, and there are some that were just like, no, that does not align with us.
The
at
people that
all.
have watched our Thursday night lives have seen us spit food out.
Yeah, we do spit food out.
Yeah.
Because if it's gross, I'm not swallowing that. I have
Mm-mm.
limited space.
That's right.
But this was like, I just kept drinking it.
Mhm.
Like Mel was cleaning up because we tried them in her kitchen, and I just kept like,
Yeah, she had a whole thing.
yep. And I really liked it.
awesome.
And I don't like flat water, guys. I don't like
She
flat
doesn't.
water. I only drink seltzer water. And I have yet to try this in my seltzer water,
You should.
but I'm going to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give it a little bubbly.
Yeah.
I like it. That would be
And
fun.
I'd just say too on the flavor thing, I find that flavor is like so subjective. Like
Mhm.
if there's anything that surprised me most in building this company, it's like, wow, how some people, like one person loves the lime, the other one's like, no way,
Yep.
watermelon all the way, you know?
Mhm.
Yep.
And I would just tell people, if you chose to order anything from Kion, we actually have like a live customer service team. Like you can just call us. And if
Oh.
you're like, I really didn't like that flavor, just tell them and they'll figure it out with you. They'll switch you out or
Oh.
so it's like,
Wow.
yeah, I mean it's very high touch to help
And
you make
user
sure you figure out-
friendly.
get what you like. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
So I have one more question for you about the product. Do you have individual packets?
Uh-huh.
we do.
I was
yeah.
going to ask that
You
too.
do?
So we could
Yeah.
actually just put them in our drinks, shake it up.
That's what
Yeah,
I
we
need
have
for
got-
Disney.
There's
That's
like,
what we need for
yeah, there's
Disney.
travel packs. Yep.
Yeah.
I need travel packs for Disney.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yes, you do.
That's on the list.
Angela's going to have to get on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Send me all the flavors in individuals.
I need a
We'll do it.
capsule.
I'm
Oh.
on it already. I made my notes.
I
Thank
love
you.
it. That's so funny.
Because I love you have limited space in your backpack when you go to Disney, and there's so many things you need as a bariatric patient. Like you have your snacks and you have your like just everything. And so to have just the little packets is just so much easier because you're like, okay, on average, I'm gonna drink like maybe 4 of these.
Well, and I can't get this through security.
You can you
Only
can.
only if you check it, but like
Yeah.
the packs would be a lot.
The packs
easier.
would be a lot easier because they're smaller and they
Yeah.
travel better. So
But I do have a question. So the letters.
The
We were
letters.
talking about the letters earlier.
yes.
So like there's EAA, there's BCAA, there's
What does that mean?
there's collagen. What
Uh-huh.
is all this letter nonsense?
So EAAs means essential amino acids.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's just the abbreviation for the essential. So that is what something like Kion Aminos is.
Yeah,
Okay.
just straight up
The-
EAAs. Yeah.
Okay.
The BCAAs stands for branch chain amino acids.
Okay.
And without trying to like explain like what it's the name comes from like the way the molecules actually look.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Like the way like the like
When they're in their
the actual
strand.
chemical composition. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the branch chain amino acids are actually 3 of the 9 essential amino acids.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So they're related to each other. They're a subset of the essential amino acids.
okay.
And I think the most important thing for everyone to know is that taking branched chain amino acids on their own as a supplement is a waste of money.
Oh,
I was gonna ask, like, why not just
Yeah.
do the 9
Yeah.
amino
Well, so
acids? Like, just do
basically,
it.
the 3 branched chain amino acids are really important. And again, without nerding out on it, they're like they're the three of the 4 most important amino acids in the essential amino acids. And
okay.
so earlier science and earlier research from over 20 years ago, the research community initially thought like, oh, you could just supplement with them. Maybe you
Oh,
don't have to take all 9 of the essential.
okay.
Maybe you
Oh,
could just take these 3 branch chain and you would get all the benefits.
right.
Huh.
And we have since found out that is not true. And
Mm-mm.
it's very conclusive throughout the research community.
Okay.
Business, though, doesn't always accept that.
Oh, of
And so
course.
Mm,
lots of companies continue to make and market branch chain amino acids and
okay.
taking them on their own, where the scientific community has basically shown that like they're not anabolic, meaning they will not help you build these new proteins or build
Huh.
more muscle or help maintain muscle.
Okay.
You have to have all 9. So simple story. If you're looking for an amino acid supplement, do not buy branch chain amino acids on their own.
Okay. No
Yeah.
BCAAs.
Yeah, not on
Yeah. I
their
mean,
own.
yeah, on their own. You want them. They're in the essential amino
Yeah.
acids, but not on their own.
Okay.
You really want a formula that has all 9
Uh-huh.
of the essential amino acids that tells you exactly how much is in them. So also some brands they may show you say only they'll say like proprietary formula.
Okay.
Okay.
So you know there's 5 grams, but you don't know how much of the leucine, the valine, the isoleucine, etc.
Mhm.
Those proportions really matter.
Yeah.
And they're based off science with many different populations of different ages, of different weight, gender, etc. Like it's really important. And so if you look at something like Kion, it's based off what the research literature is
Mm.
over so many studies of what you really want. So make sure it's got all 9.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Make sure it's not proprietary formula. And if you for some reason don't want to do the Kion thing, make sure it looks like that. Like those are the proportions you're getting. Don't get different proportions than that.
Okay.
So the
Um,
oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
The amino acid tryptophan? Tryptophan?
Tryptophan
Tryptophan. Thank you. One
is
time
the
that
lowest.
it is the lowest, but I remember Dr. Patterson was concerned because mine was too like getting low in my body. So I had to
So
yeah.
you just needed
You know
Kion
what?
in your life.
I did 9 years ago, but they only
Yeah.
came up 7. So there we go.
But now we know about them,
Yeah.
which I'm
Yeah.
excited. I think this is a fantastic way to add into your bariatric journey or weight loss journey or just a healthy lifestyle. Your body needs these things
Mhm.
that you have to have them. And why not, if you can add them in, why not just do that and
Well,
make it more
yeah,
effective?
just take care of yourself. I mean, at the end of the day, what we're saying is take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Like we know it's hard, but also we were never really taught that as like children is
Mm-mm.
like, oh, you're going to have to actually take care of yourself. This is what it looks like. You know, everybody just looked a little crazy. They're just like, we go to work, we pay the bills, here's food. Like
Yeah.
maybe we'll go on like a family trip, but the deal was it was always like, at least in my household, it was fast paced. It was in and out. No
Mhm.
one really explained anything. It was just
Mhm.
here's food. Hopefully it works. And obviously it didn't because I got to 308 pounds
Yeah.
and I had to adjust myself and
Mhm.
realize, oh, I need to just literally take care of myself.
Mhm.
And these are some of the things that you need. And the 9 is so important.
Yeah.
Like
we should just start calling it the 9.
the 9,
The 9.
the big 9.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Give it a better name. Maybe people will.
The 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
I just love that you're so nerdy about this and
Yeah,
you can
same.
tell like you're so passionate about protein.
Yeah, you
and
weren't
amino
joking about
acid.
it.
No, you were not joking. This is fantastic because I love the fact that you feel so passionate about it and that you've done your research and you continue to do your research to improve your product, which
Yep.
is already great. But you're like, okay, what more can I learn? What can I change? What can I do differently?
Well, and I want to explain to everybody like, so I see this on I think every label is
Mhm.
it's vegan, non-GMO, gluten-free,
Mhm.
and it does help with, you know, the energy, the muscle building. I also noticed that like even on the back, like there's not that many ingredients, guys, and which is a great thing.
Mhm.
Like literally like the monk fruits in here, the extract, the
yeah, which I don't mind that.
the stevia, and then just 3 other things, and then boom, here it is.
And then you've got your 9.
Then you got your 9.
You've got
I
the
love it.
9.
It's important. I'm glad that you're on because I think people don't understand the why.
Mhm.
They really, really don't. They
Mhm.
just take from their dietitians or surgeons like protein, go. Protein first, protein most, and then there's no why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this really deep dived into why protein is so important,
Mhm.
why amino acids are so important, how can you add them back into your system, and what to do and what not to do, like BCAAs.
Yes. Well, and I didn't know, like I knew that the 9 were important, but I didn't realize how important. The
Mhm.
fact that because your body can't make them.
Yeah.
So you actually have to put them in your body.
So I have one last question. Collagen.
Collagen.
Yes, let's
As a
Collagen.
talk about
supplement.
it.
Yeah,
Well,
collagen
because
is
I
yeah.
take it every morning
Yes.
in my coffee. And I know that my hair has grown crazy since I started retaking it. So some people say you can count it as a protein. Some people say you can't. And then is it like, yeah, just explain to me collagen. I'm just curious about the whole topic.
Yeah. Collagen is it's cool and it's a good thing.
It's cool.
And it's not a complete protein.
Okay.
No, it's
So
not.
Not.
a lot of things can be true, kind of all at the same time.
Mhm.
So collagen is interesting. It doesn't have actually enough of the tryptophan
Oh.
to be considered a complete protein. And overall, just like its levels of the essential amino acids are
Mhm.
much lower
Okay.
than they are in something uh, like an actual like the meat of like the actual meat of a steak,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Because the thing like collagen is actually coming from like joint type tissue, collagen tissue, like in an animal. That's where
Okay.
the collagen comes from, right?
Oh, wow.
Um, and so the idea is that the original idea was like, hey, maybe if we took the collagen from say animals
Mhm.
and we processed it, which by the way, collagen is just gelatin.
Oh,
Oh. Ew.
Collagen and gelatin are like the same
it
thing.
kind of
It's
makes
like
sense because your
it's
Yeah.
skin.
hydrolyzed gelatin. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Gelatin creeps me out. I don't like it.
well, they're the same. They're basically the
Well,
same thing.
I'm
Like
drinking
check
literally.
gelatin.
check your skin, girl.
Yeah, I mean, it's slightly more
Okay.
like hydrolyzed, it's like processed in a certain way, but it's
Okay.
basically the same thing. So, um, the idea was if you consume higher doses of this, maybe it would help humans with their own production of collagen. And
Okay.
so there have been studies on it, and there
Okay.
are human outcome studies that show like, yeah, it actually seems like it improves
Oh.
some like joint tissue and can improve like skin and hair and things like that.
Joint.
Um, and the reason for that, though, is not because it's complete protein. It's because it's really high in these other amino acids:
Ah.
hydroxyproline, proline, glycine, nerd things. It's
I
really
love it. Nerd things are
it's
all
high
up in
in
that.
those, and those
Okay.
things help support, we believe, the production of collagen in our own body. What I would
Okay.
say is that it's not a complete protein, so don't count it as part of your daily protein
Okay.
intake. If you find that for you, and this kind of goes back to each individual person, it really helps you, like it's really made your hair grow,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
and that's a real value to you, great, take it.
Okay.
It's not going to help though with like all these other things that we talked about today. It's not going to help with like maintaining lean muscle and like your overall
Okay.
body composition. It's gonna not gonna help with like all these other things like regarding like we didn't get into it, but proteins have to do with like immune function and
Mhm.
hormone function, and like
Mhm.
it's not going to support all those other things that an essential amino acid supplement or even a whey protein powder might.
I feel
But
personally attacked by that statement because
Why?
my immune and
Hormones.
hormones.
Well, guess what? Kion will help your
I
hormones.
know. I'm
yeah,
serious. Well, and I didn't even think about that. But as soon as you said it, I'm like, so I have 4 autoimmune diseases. So I have lupus, Raynaud's, RA, and then I have fibromyalgia, which I know is technically not autoimmune, but I
Group
included in
'em.
there.
Yep.
So and when you're talking about that, I'm like, I should
Mhm.
probably be taking that because that would probably help my overall function of my body because my body hates me on a daily basis. So
Yeah.
why
This
not?
would 100% help you.
All right, fine.
Fine, she
and again, it's
says.
like
Fine.
I mean, the science shows that it would likely help you, and try it and see how it works for you.
Okay.
I think that's a really important thing for everyone is just to have your own experience with it.
I love
I
that.
have one last question
Okay.
and then we're done. Okay, well, because in the beginning you talked about how your parents taught you to pair foods,
Mhm.
right? To
Uh-huh.
make sure you
Yeah.
can get the complete. So is my understanding that the veggies and fruit don't give you a complete protein. It needs to come from animal. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah. So quick breakdown if we're just talking whole food proteins and
Yeah.
like what makes one good and not. You want to know like how digestible is it? So when I not just like how digestible is it, like how does it feel in my digestion, but like can I actually break down the proteins and get the amino acids from it?
Okay.
That's number one.
Okay.
Number two is when I do digest it, like what amino acids are in it? Are there more of the essentials in
Okay.
it? Right.
Yep.
And then the third thing is um, are there like a ton of the essential amino acids, like in these more ideal proportions? They're just like a little bit. Like I was saying, like they're actually like while collagen's not an essential, not a complete protein, doesn't have all of them. It does have essential amino acids, but it also has like a lot lower than say like a whey protein does.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then the last thing is how many calories are in it. So if I'm going to eat this piece of food and I'm trying to get all the essential amino acids in the highest dose so it does like the most benefit for help me rebuild my proteins in my body and support my immune system, my hormones, my neurological function, my lean muscle, all these things. Ideally I do it with like the least amount of like additional calories too.
Okay.
Right.
So
Okay.
those are all the things you'd look at. So unfortunately plant proteins
Mm-hmm.
are there's a if I go kind of in reverse order, there's a lot of other stuff. If I eat rice and beans, there's a lot of carbohydrates in it
Right.
compared to how much protein I get. So it's very calorically dense,
Okay.
actually. Like there's not that much protein for how much total calories I get from it.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of that, neither on their own are a complete protein. They don't have all the essential amino acids. So I have to combine them together to
Okay.
get that complete essential amino acid profile. And they're also quite a bit lower in those essential amino acids
That makes sense.
and kind of the more ideal ratios
Okay.
than say like and it's not just meat, but it could be eggs,
Mm-hmm.
dairy, other types of animal proteins tend to be richer in them. And then at the kind of the first thing I brought up, they're also like the least digestible. They're the most difficult to get the amino acids out of the protein for our body to actually break them down. So all that to say, that doesn't mean that rice and beans are not good. Like I like
Yeah.
rice and beans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
like they're
Who
good.
doesn't?
Like I just had, yeah. I mean, I went to Chipotle last night with my son after basketball. I got a salad and I got some beans on it and some chicken, and it was like it was good.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Um,
Yeah.
but I know that like the chicken is more digestible, and I'm getting a much better kind of bang for my buck in terms of the essential amino acids from it.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like I think if you're really trying to optimize, you would lean more towards the animal proteins, but that doesn't mean it's not possible to
Right.
get them from plants,
Okay.
You just got to
and
pair them
grains
and
and legumes. You got
really
to pair
search.
them. Yeah, and honestly, if you're doing that, you probably want to be eating. And maybe here's another take too. You want to be eating a lot less fat
Okay.
because you're already getting a lot of calories from the carbs. But on the flip
Uh,
side, what I don't want to endorse is animal proteins are good, and then people are eating like really
Like,
saturated fat laden like
yeah, like,
bacon, right? Or
right.
like super fatty hamburger meat. And it's like, yeah, there's protein in it, but you're getting all the saturated fat at the same
Yeah.
time too. And that
okay.
doesn't mean you shouldn't do either. I like bacon sometimes and I
Yeah.
have hamburgers. Like I'm it's all good.
Yeah.
But just realizing like it's a lean chicken breast or some tuna fish
Mm-hmm.
or an egg, it is more dense and digestible and calorically efficient, and it's going to be overall like the better protein decision, I
I
think.
Yeah.
love it.
Well, it's just finding that balance.
Yeah. It's always a
Yeah,
balance
It's
act.
always the
yeah,
balance of everything. And, you dive headfirst into this crazy weight loss world, and you're just trying to find balance through all the things that you have to add in. And I I truly believe this is fantastic. And I'm so glad we had you on to explain it, because I was like, I like it, but what is it?
Right. And I don't know why I like it, but I do.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, it's got all these great things in it, but I don't understand what it is. And
Right.
so I'm so excited to have not only you on this podcast and explain this stuff to us, but explain it to our followers so they can understand it and then they can pass it along. Because I really do feel like this is going to be a game changer for me, guys. Yeah. And it's going to Disney with me.
Yes, it is.
So
Love it.
well,
absolutely
it's
love
been
it.
awesome. It's been awesome being on the show, and I think if I just ended with one last thought, it would be I know I shared a lot of information, and sometimes when people get a lot of information, be like, oh, I have to do all these things, or what do I do first? Like I just know like you just keep it simple and bring it back to what Mel said earlier about like it's about what you can actually do consistently.
Yeah.
And if you just get like one thing from this conversation today,
Mhm.
speaking to the audience, that like motivates you and you feel clear about, like, just start with that one thing. Like, it doesn't have to be all this stuff.
All of it.
That's why you
You know?
align so well with us, because we think the same thing.
Yep.
Like, start small. Start one thing.
One thing at a
get that
time.
underhandled,
Yeah.
and then move on to the next. Do not overhaul your life, because that was yo-yo dieting.
Yep.
You overhauled your life overnight, and then what happened? You ended up gaining all the weight back because you couldn't. It's not sustainable.
No.
It's not
So,
sustainable.
Try baby steps, and it will work long term.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's talking about herself too. Like
I
people.
100%
Because she's an all or nothing. She's an all or nothing girl.
I am. And so I'm trying to do like one step at a time, get
Yeah.
that under control, then move on to the next.
Yeah.
So
I live in the gray. I like one thing at a time.
yeah, I don't. I do not.
She doesn't, to so much to where she's like, Melanie, you need to change up your yoga stuff. And I'm like, nope, not doing it.
And I like to try stuff.
And she's like, I don't know. I think you should. Yep. No, I cannot even do this one 100%.
But if you think
so
about it,
not happening.
I'm an amino acid. Because I come in and I'm like, I want to update this. I want to change this. I want to do all of these things. I'm just an amino acid.
Oh,
You're
I love
welcome.
it. I guess. Thank you. I had no idea. Am I a protein and you're amino acid?
Yeah, you could be a
I'm
protein.
pretty, I'm a, what is
You're
it
You
called?
might be bone. You might be bone, Mel. You're
Yeah.
just like, you're solid.
That's,
Yeah.
there we go.
Thing.
You're bones.
Being
I'm
consistent.
bones. You're amino acid.
I'm an amino
She's
acid.
reinventing all the proteins around you.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
like that. She is
You're
creative.
like the
It's
minerals.
great.
You're mineral. You're
Yeah.
mineral. She's amino acid.
There we
Oh,
go.
I'm a mineral. You're amino acid.
I like it.
Boom.
Just call me the 9, please.
The 9.
Oh, well, thank you so much again, Angelo. We had such a blast, and we cannot wait for all of you guys to check out this product. Make sure that you go to getkion.com, and that's Kion, Kion.com/OSLP.
And
Jeez.
remember, everything will be in the show notes.
Yes,
So
everything is linked below.
it'll be clickable. You don't have to worry about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, we have a website, oursleeplifepodcast.com.
Mhm.
Get all your merch needs.
Mhm.
Get all of your fun, becoming a patron. Get your
Mhm.
pillars. Get your journals. And definitely go over and learn more about Kion, because
Yeah.
it's going to be in the show notes.
Yeah.
And it's important.
Go give them a follow on all the social media.
All the things.
Yes. All
Yep.
right. We love you guys, and we will see you
Next time. Bye.
Bye. My throat was like, nope.